let's get back to that cornerback thing.
Mm-hmm.
When I do these shows, I often get super chats, people saying, should the Niners do this at cornerback? What should the Niners make a trade? Because it's a big problem and they're looking for a big solution. Clearly, signing Buster Screen isn't that solution. And signing Josh Norman wasn't that solution. Mm-hmm. Is there a solution to the Niners cornerback problem at this point in the year? Like a short-term solution?
I don't think there's anybody that they can sign to come in that's going to help them out greatly. I mean, maybe Richard Sherman, possibly, but we saw what Sherman was like last year, and it wasn't very good. At least that's what most of us were saying throughout the season last year. We all felt that
5 games and it wasn't good. He was better in 19, yeah.
Yeah, we all felt like they were better off once he left the field and Verrett replaced him. I think
bad last
year. He couldn't. In man coverage, he really struggled, and
forget,
yeah. But as far as this year, dealing with him right now, if Norman can play, Norman's good. I just want to see them play the rookies. Just they're gonna struggle, but I think they'll be better overall down the road because of
I think what fans would say is, well, what about a trade? There are probably good cornerbacks who will be on the trade market eventually. What about a trade? What I would say is usually good cornerbacks are expensive. Not having a first round pick is tough. And I guess so does that. And there's also, is it worth it to spend more picks on this team?
I don't know if there's a top cornerback that's going to ever become available by through trade. Because if teams have, not usually. Because if that's like a pass rusher. If there's a really good pass rusher, or they're not going to just give that guy up. Especially what are the 49ers going to give up to get a player like that? They don't really have. Think about who the 49ers have on their roster. Think about what they have as far as draft capital. What are the 49ers really going to give up if they were going to say get, the guy out of New England, for example, that everybody talked about earlier this year, Stephon Gilmore, for example, right? Do the 49ers even have the firepower to do that without weakening their team somewhere else?
Right.
If they're going to do it with players, do they want to get rid of their second round draft pick next year for a guy that's a 1-year rental?
No, absolutely not. Here's my creative solution to the Niners cornerback problem. And I don't know if it'll work, but I would trade a player for a cornerback. If it's a player for a player deal, I'd be interested.
Okay. Who you got?
That's about as far as I can take. Who would I trade?
Yeah.
Armstead.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, he's not he is a good player. He has value.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I suggest him. He's a good player. People would appreciate him, especially maybe teams that play more of a read and react 3-4 defense. I would rather have him. I think he'd be a good 5 tech. You got to get him off the edge. It's unfair to ask him to set the edge and to contain quarterbacks at all, in my opinion. Anyway, could you trade him for Gilmore? Trade him? The end?
I don't know if they'd go straight up with it though. That's the only problem. But you get a couple things there because that's a bunch of salary cap, that you're out of. He's going to cost him $20 million next year for Eric Armstead.
I'm just saying, I really don't have a lifetime picture of Bill Belichick taking on that contract. I just don't see it. But if you could trade Armstead for a corner, or someone that's good, but you doesn't kill you to part with it, he's kind of in that tier of player. Like, you want him, but if he could trade him for another good player, why not? Like, if I floated the name Bosa right now, fans would just be like, oh, take it back. So I'm not saying Bosa. I'm saying Armstead. I think that you could be okay with that.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of reasons why Armstead is a good player to be trying to move on from.
Yeah. Okay. I think there was one. If there were 51 seconds left after the catch. Oh, there were 51 seconds left after the catch. Defense ended the game with a forced fumble sack on Cowboys, and Joe was a hero. D lost the game. Interesting.
Yeah, it was the same. Yeah. It was the same. It's funny that he says that because if in that game they were up 28-27, just like Sunday night. The Cowboys got out to midfield, right? And then because that's where they made the tackle on Drew Pearson, and then they sack him, and Jim Stuckey recovers the fumble, and they win the game. Nobody remembers anything beyond that.
And I think Joe Montana threw 3 picks in that game.
He did, yes.
Wow. Yeah, I watched it on YouTube for the first time during the pandemic and was surprised by a lot of things. He was so athletic. The way he moved, the way he threw on the run, his arm. I mean, you think of him as being like Drew Brees or something. Like, no. He was really a hell of an athlete.
Yeah, he was a really good athlete. He moves, watch him. He moves all over the place. He definitely isn't just sitting in the pocket. He moves. And, his arm was, they said his arm wasn't strong, but I don't never really remember seeing him underthrow anybody. He never underthrew Jerry Rice.
And his spirals were just, what? He had clearly like huge hands. And the ball looked really small when he was holding it, and he could just manipulate it however he wanted to. Anyway, good point on that. I guess the only nitpicky thing I was going to say is, I mean, the D had his back when he turned it over twice, and they only gave up 3 points off that. And they ended up losing by 2. So if he hadn't turned the ball over, maybe they win that game. But Joe did turn the ball over 3 times against the Cowboys in that game, so that's a fair point.
Yeah, and I don't totally agree or disagree with this D lost the game thing. They did lose the game. You can't say that the defense is absolved of the blame. They definitely blew it at the end of the game, but the Garoppolo lost it for them. If you want to blame it on Garoppolo, he lost it for him on the backwards throw.
Yeah.
Yep. Because that became 3 points, and instead of it being 28-24, it's 28-27.
That's what I'm saying. So the defense gave it up. They lost by 2, but Garoppolo threw the ball backwards and essentially threw 3 points into the Green Bay scoreboard.
It's all over the board on this one. Everybody's trying to pin it on one person, and you and I talked about it last week after the Eagles game, and I kept saying how good of a team win that was. And this was the opposite. This was a total team collapse and loss in this game, as far as I take it.
Yeah, I agree. QMax says Jack Hammer should be a coach. His knowledge and eyes for the game are legit. He is a coach. He's just also now a beat writer, and which is cool. He's really attacking football from all different directions. But there's a reason why he's so perceptive. You just was guessing.
No, just guessing that, and I've been around football. I used to coach football a long time ago. Yeah.
Played, coached, a whole shebang bang. Carson says, I would trade Dre Greenlaw if he wasn't hurt. That's another name in that, because I mean, look at Azeez Al-Shaair can do a lot of what he does. Good point.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Yeah. If we want to get Stephon Gilmore, he's a free agent this offseason. Let's wait for that. And let's let the rookies play, let them develop, and sign a good cornerback in free agency. I think what Niners fans are feeling like is, let's win the Super Bowl this year. And if we can just get one good corner to replace Jason Verrett, we're right back in there. Because everyone knows after watching that Sunday night game that, DK Metcalf's going to be tough, and Hopkins is going to be tough, and all these, you can't just pencil in wins here anymore. Any team with a good quarterback and a good wide receiver. So win now.
Yeah, everybody's trying to win now, and that makes sense. And I like what he's saying here. Yeah, go get Gilmore at the end of this year with that money that you're saving for moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo.